back. Recently, we saw another round of killings that happened in Benue and Kaduna. The president is livid and he said those killers must be brought to book. What exactly is going on? We've talked about Benue so much. We've interviewed the governor, interviewed commissioners, we've interviewed literally everybody that should be talked to at different points in time. But the insecurity in Benue seems to persist. What are the drivers? What can we do for a final resolution? The president himself had to travel to Makurdi in Benue State at some point, which was one of his first visits to what I consider ground zero, where people are massacred. And he spoke extensively about that issue, but it is not going away. So let's bring in a human rights activist who is familiar with the territory as to this latest round of killing in the southern part of the state. Mr. Daniel Ajayi is a human rights activist joining us virtually. Mr. Ajayi, thank you so much. Atai, rather. Mr. Atai, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Yes. Morning, Channels TV, and thanks for the privilege.
All right, Mr. Atai, I wish we can be excited about what's going on in Benue, but unfortunately, no. It's one round of incident or the other, and it's reported in fatalities, and there's been all kinds of allegations about what is driving it, who is responsible. But what do you make of this latest killing that has happened in the southern part of the state?
As I speak to you, Channels TV, even at the moment, we have been sieged. We have been besieged with unwanted killings by terrorists. And I can tell you clearly that these terrorists are jihadists. They have this religious ideology, and they believe that Benue and Plateau must be conquered. I never wanted to believe in the speech of Donald Trump, the American president, when he said there is genocide in Nigeria against Christians. But what I have witnessed with my eyes, I can really tell you that the American government was true in that statement. As we speak, Benue South, which is the Zosi senatorial district, there is war. Not war that two different groups are fighting, but war came to us in Zosi and the people are helpless. That is Benue South senatorial district. Benue stands on a tripod of A, B, and C. And for over 20 years, precisely from 2000, the year 2000 to date, it began from Agatu and Apa, and we thought it was only going to be Agatu and Apa. At the time, the SGF, the current SGF of this country, was the governor of the state. It was mild per se, and we thought it to be something like herders-farmers clashes. But what we are witnessing from 2015 to now, it is quite like the terrorists have been empowered and on the bench on an ideological mission that Benue must be sacked. Benueites must have to leave their farms, leave their homes, and for them to occupy. That is what we see, because the annihilation is inhuman. You just need to send your correspondents to see if they could even stand the heat of the gunfires. I don't know when Nigeria began another civil war. But I can tell you, Channels Television, we need your help. I think we are at war, the war that we never created, the war that we never wanted. Our people are being massacred mercilessly. Women, children, including pregnant ones. I don't know what is the crime, but I can tell you, we are done with this. We have added enough to our neck. It is enough and we can no longer take it. Sadly, the military.
Yes, and that's where I'm headed. I'm sure there are military formations in Benue. I'm not quite sure if there is one in Otokpo where you say the latest round of killings have occurred. 14 persons have been killed, I believe, in Efe. Talk to us about the role of the military formations in Benue State, especially since Mr. President visited Benue State last year. Why have the killings not abated?
When Mr. President visited the state and asked the political leaders and bureaucrats to make peace within themselves, particularly within his party, and asked the military to take charge of Benue insecurity, I think it has worsened since then. We would have prayed that the president never came to Benue. Because as we speak to you, even the military are overwhelmed. The paramilitary are overwhelmed. But one thing that I would like to tell you today and the people of Nigeria, even as I am grieving, is that the military, when you call the military, they have proactive information, they have information about or intelligence about planned attack and threats. The issue of logistics, the military will complain that they don't have fuel in their cars, they don't have mobility. And when they eventually come to the scene of crime, of the killings, you will find out that the enemies or the invaders, the terrorists would have gone. Rather, they would be arresting the vigilantes formation, which is the local security network that our people are like depending on to protect them, to avert the threat. So, it is the responsibility of the state government to ensure that whatever fund meant for security, proactive security measures are given to the police commissioner and to the military divisions and sectors that are in our state. We have the Operation White Stroke, we have the JTF, we have the civil defense, and Nigerian police. We have the local vigilante, we have the what do you call them? The local vigilante that the state government formed. But I tell you, the power force from the jihadists, from these terrorists, overwhelmed them. They could not even stand it, and they are not able to see. It is when annihilation are taking place that you will see them drive their vehicles to come and count scores and numbers of dead bodies on the ground.
Mr. Tai, so I mean, it's a really very sad development. We see and read these stories, and we have our presence right there in Benue State because we have our correspondent there as well. So it's really sad and tragic to see that almost on a daily basis there we see these reports of killings happening across Benue State, and you have cited that since 2015 this has been happening. So almost 11 years down the line, and these killings have taken place. One would have thought.
As we speak, we have accounted. The killing have taken more than 6,000 lives. You can check
more than 6,000 lives. We'll have to fact check that. But my question really to you would be: only a few weeks ago, your state marked its 50th anniversary, and it was a very big celebration. Howbeit, one man was practically missing in all of the events I saw. The secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, and he was a former governor. Perhaps there are those who think there's a political undertone to all of this. I wonder if you think that maybe that disagreement between the SGF and the governor is also contributing to maybe why things are the way they are in Benue State in terms of this insecurity that we're experiencing in Benue State. I mean, that is the food basket of the nation, a state that many Nigerians normally would depend on for food.
Channels TV, thank you for this question. You see, the SGF became governor from 1999 to 2007 before Suswan took over. The insurgency started about the year 2000. Yes, of a truth, there is a political conundrum in the All Progressive Congress as a party, particularly between the SGF and the incumbent governor, Alia. And I can tell you this, that the recent killing from 2015 to this 2026 that we are has taken another tone. And whether it is a political making or the making of our religious ideology, one thing is certain: politics always have crisis. The politicians always don't have unity among themselves to avert war. And it is like in Benue, the leaders tend to be answerable to the northern religious caliphate. I am referring to Islamic caliphate, because those who are murdering us, they are not from Japan, they are not from China, they are not from US, they are from the same northern Nigeria with this religious belief that Benue is their land. It is not about farmers' elder clashes anymore. It is now a religious project from the far north to Islamize not only Benue, but Plateau and the middle belt Nigeria and take over. I don't know whether in democracy religious project should be allowed. And thirdly, Alia, Governor Alia, and the SGA.
Mr. Tai, we're totally out of time. Well, you made some strong allegations, so let's say these are allegations, and it needs to be proven. But you have a right to say what you have to say, but these are still allegations when you talked about the concerted efforts from a religious point of view, so needed to put that out. But in just 30 seconds, so that we can move to the next conversation, in just 30 seconds, do you see, how would you assess the response of the state government? Does Governor Alia look helpless? Is that what you're saying?
Governor Alia is not only helpless, but he is not, I don't know whether he is ready, whether he is in charge of Benue at all, whether he is ready to avert the threats and the terrorism and the killings that are happening in Benue State right now. As I speak to you, Benue Zone C, which is the Benue South, more than 50 persons had gone down. Just like that. And when this threat came, the DSS, the police, the army, and the government that are informed. Look at what Ondo State governor has just done. The governor cannot tell us that he does not have money to purchase surveillance or even drones to go to our forests to monitor these men that have come to the state to kill us. And when you speak about self-defense,
my apologies.
the government will tell you that you will not defend yourself. We are in a mess in the country. And I think the government need to sit up. The people will never continue to employ people who will govern over.
All right, Mr. Tai, we're totally out of time. I think your point is well made. And well, this is, we've had to interview the governor before, but I think what you're saying, rather than this degenerate to anarchy, the governor must step up to his responsibility. He has one job, just one job first: the preservation of lives and property. And from your assessment, he's failing significantly at that job, and he has to rise up to the responsibility. We've seen the Oyo State government buy surveillance helicopters. I think we heard it's about 9.9 billion or so. Those kind of things, we're supposed to see all those kind of things in the northern state of Nigeria, including places like Benue, but I don't know whether they're there. My apologies. Totally out of time. Mr. Daniel Atai, human rights activist, thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we will segue from Benue to issues of state of the nation, and gladly, our next guest is also from the north central part of Nigeria. He represented the Plateau State and is going back because he's contesting on the platform of the APC to run for the House of Reps. Bukola, you have this one.